Gibbet's Crossing then, underneath Tal Hundredth in the Underdark. The plink plink drip of the water in the caverns underneath. This is where Drow, Durgar and Sverfneblin used to meet for trade. And now it's a semi-lair of the Mind Flayer Kunbraxel. So if you want inspiration, look at the Out of the Abyss module, because that takes place all through the Underdark. But in the immediate section where we're going, it's continual flame lit. The ceilings are only 9 or 10 feet, whereas quite often they're usually like 20 feet. And so if you've got any players who think they're above that, have them explain how the hell they're going to get through. Duck, I suppose. This map's too elaborate for me to bother mapping out for you. I'm going to go digital map again. But if I were to run it, I'd just have a big battle mat and do a room at a time, maybe 2 rooms at a time. Or if I was feeling really spicy, I would put out my tiles of various shapes, dungeon tiles from D&D, and just get somewhat similar sized and lay them out as separate rooms. But however you do it, let's get to area 1. Door to the east, door to the west, double door to the south. Now the west door has a massive X on it. In Dwarvish it says toil. In area 2 it's a storeroom for different lengths of heavy iron bar. They're all rusted, so useless. A slight hint at the passage of time down near a moist area. This is a workshop where 4 ghostly feral Ashenrites strike at nothing. Maybe there's like old tools lying around. There's a cage with spikes inwards. You can fold it flat and take it with you, but it's heavy. Or if not heavy, it's difficult to carry under your armour all the time. Area 4 has some iron bed frames, mouldy bedding, another X on the west door, remains of a campfire on the floor. Well, there's a backpack with cartographer's tools in, 6 pints of oil, flammable, a book about ropers, which lay ahead, an emerald worth 250 GP, which can be fed to the Zorn later on, and a lantern of revealing. We will look at that later. Area 5 is a showroom for the wares that were being sold. There are demonstration cages, and upon any noise, a chain devil will come from the next room, area 6. She can only leave area 6 for 1 minute at a time because she's bound to that room. Vakatar is a sadistic jailer who likes to shove people she catches in these spiked jail cells. So these cages have been used and used, so there's gore and viscera, and more cages if the players want to carry around 500 pounds of stuff. Area 7 is just a flooded tunnel, but think about the noise that it makes sloshing through. Area 8 has stalactites above and a slick floor. A Grick Alpha will slowly descend from above, and the first time it's hit, it will let out a squeal to alert other monsters that can draw Gricks from Area 9 if you so wish. You do hear the ghostly echoes of trade from years agone. In Area 9 are the 6 Grick backup if you want them, and they're set back in sort of mucus, so really slimy and slippy. Area 10's got a collapse at the end, and there are 2 ropers which look like stalagmites or stalactites. These ropers have actually eaten some gems, so you can devise a way that they cough them up or they fall out when dead. It's like 4 amethysts to be fed to the Zorn later on, who love gems. Now, Area 11 has a door barred from 10 side. You can break down the door. I mean, it'd be a bit annoying if they didn't. There's a lot of text about Kunbraxel and why this is like it is. It's all for the DM. The players aren't going to find out this information, I don't think. So don't worry about it. Area 12, the door is kicked off. The room is actually blurry from a blur spell, so they may not even dare enter it. Nothing in here anyway. Area 13, the only thing of interest is a sense of dread about an ambush, which is just a psychic memory of a Mind Flayer attack. So you can decide to drop some useful or cool or interesting loot as the Sverfneblin or whatever left in a hurry, or Durgar, whatever. Now you can have the first person in the room to get this psychic flash, or someone who you think would make sense more. Area 14 has a Zorn, who loves to eat gems, talking to 2 earth elementals. They're discussing a mudslick tower, which is something that starts off as a sphere. You say the command word and it springs into a massive impenetrable fortress. So it's a cool, safe place to have for the players, but it needs shrinking down to obviously get rid of it to the room 25 behind, which is where the fragment is. So it needs dealing with, and this chapter says maybe they don't deal with it, but note it down if they don't get the fragment from Area 25. The command word petrification can be found later on in some writings in Area 20, but this multilingual Zorn could basically be persuaded to give over information about this tower being obviously magical, and maybe he's heard the magic word. He remembers it but can't speak it. It's petrification, but basically the best he can do maybe is putrefaction or, petriflammation, and see if the characters can say the correct command word, which makes it shrink. All the Zorn knows is he overheard something about a very strong box in the back room. Now, does that mean strong box, or does that mean a mimic? Or is it, right, get this, is it someone's made a strong box in the shape of a mimic in a mimic reversal, like it looks like a mimic, but it's just a chest, to try and ward people off? Area 15 has trust no one in Dwarvish carved over the door. There's a long table with various cage hinges, which have been from like a sales meeting. Perhaps pieces of paper advertising the craftsmanship and quality of these hinges. Area 16 is flooded in 2 feet of water. It's difficult terrain and there are 4 chulls here. A passive perception at least of 15 can see the secret door grooves. If you open the secret door, the water sort of pours halfway up the stairs or something. 17 is just a room of rotten furniture, but over on the wall is carved in Elvish, distrust all strangers. So this was a very hot spot of trade, but also distrust. 18, connecting passage. 19 has a door with a coin shape with legs coming out of it, and Asphodel in Elvish. A history check will get them House Asphodel, famous drow house which was overrun by mind flares or whatever you want to drop. Chairs of silk and a metal cabinet with legged coins all over it. That's blocking a door to Area 20. Now, the demon in that room can go misty form and come in to Area 19 under the door, under the cabinet. What if you describe metal shift marks in the floor where someone's pushed the cabinet against the door, or they can even see the top of the door over a cabinet? That will get them in there. And you've got the same drow symbology throughout Area 20. The ceiling is cobwebbed with enchanted coins with spider legs crawling around, thanks to the magic of the Yoklol. Zulathul is here by choice for a bit of peace, and you've just disturbed it. Zulathul attacks. We'll look at stats at the end, as usual. Now, when that's dealt with, there's a table with notes about trade between the drow and Durgar. It contains the command word for the Mudslick Tower, whatever. There's also a drawing of the tower to make it completely foolproof, and the word petrification underneath. Now there's a random scroll on the table. You can at least hide it in the table drawer. It's a scroll of freedom of movement because of the water. I mean, you could have foreshadowed that by leaving it upstairs in Tal 100th. It just helps moving through all the water. 21 has another symbol on the door, a dagger stuck in an ingot. Tristaroth in Elvish is written. This was another drow house if you do a history check. Defeated by mind flayers again. Heavily water damaged statues are pushed up to the wall. They're actually petrified people. 2 basilisks and 5 grimlocks stink out this watery room. It's only a few inches of water though, so a bit of sloshing, but no difficult terrain, I would say. It also mentions the gravel component required to use the Mudslick Tower. Now, I myself cannot be bothered with that sort of thing. You say the command word, it does it. But the information's there, use it how you want. As we push door 22, it's cold to the touch because of brown mould behind. You're now breathing brown mould and need to make saves. We'll look at that at the end. It's just 6 chairs around a mouldy table. 23 corridor has arrow slits down it on one side, with the sloshing of water and a dripping off your armour. Kunbraxel could Eldritch Bolt through an arrow slit. Could Mind Blast, but probably not. Cast Dominate Monster for sure and say attack other creature. So mind control players to attack each other. Wisdom save 16 if you're interested. Further up the corridor, there's the tower blockage from the other side, undulating like a drill. Maybe that's what we're going to use it for. Now you can either have, if the tower's there, the Grimlocks are trying to smash beyond it and can't, it's invulnerable to that damage. If they did shrink the tower already, then put those 2 Grimlocks in Area 25, guarding Cumbraxel. So there's a bit of a conflict here. Do you put Cumbraxel in 25 or 24? Just see how it goes. 25 is the last room with the shard. You could be looking at that if the players got rid of the tower and went another direction. Or 24, there's a throne for him in this room. I mean, what is the thinking that there's a stone room and a throne and the guy just sits menacingly waiting for years and years? Can't wait till the adventurers arrive, I can actually do my thing. Yeah, I know it says he could be looking at a map on the wall, but really, just a throne? Strange to me. But anyway, since there's some detail there, the map is pretty cool. It shows the obelisk and all its 7 parts put together, complete. Waves emanating up to Phandelver, and then loads of mathematics maybe smeared out and rewritten for how much percentage-wise the transformation will take hold of the inhabitants. I do think that's cool. Anyway, we have 4 to 6 Grimlocks in a wall surrounding Cumbraxel to keep him safe, giving Cumbraxel time to goad each player on their attack or before their attack with information from the book, or simply, you're a bad wizard, you can't hit strong, I'm going to eat your brain. Because there's a load of text about what Cumbraxel knows, but I cannot even read it because it would send you to sleep. The map has a sign Elithinock on it, and then really we're on to Area 25. The bones of drow who have starved surround the crystal fragment. Yeah, but what treasure is there in here? 5,900 gold pieces, since you ask. 4,050 silver pieces. I don't do silver, convert it to gold. I think that would be 1,450 gold. There's a jewel dagger worth 200 gold pieces. 11 jacinths. Yay, jacinths! Worth 90 gold each. A wand of magic detection. This is D&D. There's magic bloody everywhere. Your part is probably magical, so good luck with that. Heward's handy haversack is basically a bag of holding with 3 different compartments. We'll look at all this soon. It does mention the players not getting into this room, not getting this fragment, and it says it's very relevant. So I will say again, make sure you put a post-it on your DM screen. They didn't get that one, and see what happens in the book later on. Now it's the time we all skip through the stats. Lantern of Revealing. While lit, the hooded lantern burns for 6 hours on 1 pint of oil, shedding bright light in a 30-foot radius. Invisible monsters and objects are apparent. That's why it's cool. Chain Devil is AC 16, 120 health, has some resistances, immune to fire and poison. Okay, so magical darkness doesn't affect the Chain Devil. It has advantage on saves against magic. It makes 2 chain attacks plus 8 of 10-foot reach, remember that. 11 average damage if you're doing it quickly. The target is grappled by the chains and will take an extra 2d6 piercing at the start of every turn. Animate chains. 4 chains spring out. They have health and it can stop the players moving around. What's the reaction? Unnerving Mask. Creature it can see within 30 feet creates the illusion it looks like one of the creature's departed loved ones or bitter enemies. These are there. That's cool. Grick Alpha, AC 18, 120 health, okay. Blends into its surroundings. 2 attacks, 1 tail, 1 tentacle. Plus 7 to both of those. 10-foot reach to both of those. 11 average tail, 22 on tentacles. And tentacles can then make a beak attack if a successful tentacle hit is done, which is 10-foot reach plus 7 again, 13 average piercing. And it's the health that can grind my players down, like they did in Death House. I ran a Grick Alpha rather than just a normal Grick. My players were not impressed, because Gricks only have 48 health for the Grick. Camouflage again. It makes 1 attack with its tentacles, and then the same thing. So it's only a plus 4 with 9 average damage from a tentacle, and then if it does get a tentacle attack, plus 4 again to do 5 piercing. Ropers are cool. AC 20 because they're kind of like rocks. 143 damage. Very, very slow, shambling speed of 10. I guess it's their reach of their tendrils, which is 50 feet. I did not know it was 50 feet. I thought it might have been 15. Wow. Anyway, bite plus 7 with 22 average from a bite. Jesus. I know it can reel you in from afar. So, far reach. 6 tendrils at a time. Destroying a tendril does no damage to the roper. Just an annoyance, but a cool annoyance. The blur spell Your body becomes blurred, shifting and wavering to all who can see you. Disadvantage on attack rolls against a blurred person. An attacker is immune to this effect if it doesn't rely on sight, as with blind sight or true sight overrules the blur effect. Zorns just look really cool. AC of 19, 98 health or 100 if you're lazy. 20 foot speed doesn't seem like much, but burrowing through the floor is kind of cool. So it can come up from underneath you. It can pinpoint you just from sense if you're carrying precious metals and stones. 3 claws, +6, +6, +6, doing a d6 +3 every time it hits. And it can bite you on top for +6 and then 13 average piercing. Not too shabby, Mr. Zorn. Earth Elementals then, AC 17, 180 health. These can also burrow at much faster, 30 feet. Resistance to the standard damages. Yeah, can elemental burrow through unworked earth and stone. Double damage to objects and structures. Slams you +8 for a 10-foot reach. These things have all got long reaches, I think. 2d8 +5 bludgeoning, and then again for the +8 and another 2d8 +5. Pretty cool. So there's a little bit here on the Mudslick Tower. All sides, the roof and everything has 100 hit points each wall. 20 foot on a side, 30 feet high with arrow slits on the battlements, 2 floors. It is immune to the knock spell, although your characters aren't going to have the knock spell, surely. Maybe they do. Freedom of movement spell. You touch a willing creature, and for the duration, the movement is unaffected by difficult terrain. Spells and other magical effects can neither reduce the target's speed nor cause the target to become paralysed or restrained. You automatically escape, grapple, and underwater imposes no penalties. The Grimlock has an AC of 11, 18 health, has blind sight, so it doesn't need to see you to know you're there. But it won't be able to do that if it's deafened. +5 with its spike bone club, which does bludgeoning and piercing, like 5 plus another 2 for averages. Basilisks, AC 15, 80 health, only 20 foot movement. I picture these as really big because my miniature for this is huge. Petrifying gaze, yes, it will turn you to stone. It will then bite you, +5 to hit you, and 10 average piercing, +7 poison on top. So that brown mould. Spores burst out and you make a DC 13 con save or 8d8 necrotic damage and half as much on a save. The target's hit point maximum is reduced by the amount taken, and that lasts until you finish a long rest. Jesus, and you will die if you got a 0. Die. Not unconscious, die. Cumbraxel. If he's got his mage armour on, which he should have, AC 15, 165 health at full telepathy, advantage on saves and magic. He makes 2 Eldritch Bolt attacks. +8, +8, 120 range. Sheesh. 3d10 +4, force damage. There's not much you can do about force, generally speaking. And then or a tentacle attack, which is +8 again, 2d10 +4 psychic, and you're grappled. You will succeed on intelligence saving throw or have the stunned condition as well. Grappled and stunned. That's a first. Mind Blast recharge. 60 foot cone. It's a DC 16 intelligence save. Or you take 26 average psychic damage and stunned. I love stunned. This Cumbraxel is cool. I only love stunned when I'm dealing it. I hate being stunned as a DM. Wand of Magic Detection. The wand has 3 charges. You expend a charge as an action to cast Dispel Magic. You sense magic all around you. And Heward's Handy Haversack. So like a bag of holding, except it has 2 side pouches, 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubed feet. The large portion is 8 cubed feet, so you can just pull the objects you want out of the bag. It's always at the top. And the usual, if it's damaged, everything just flies out. You can't breathe in the bag, so don't stuff people in there. And that's pretty damn useful.